skip it. See it or skip it. See it or skip it.
All right, y'all.
Wait, there was a...
What's up, everybody? We're back. It's the after show. It's our first after show, and we're talking quick spoilers about 28 years later because we just could not resist talking about this ending that turned into Teletubby Power Rangers.
But before we get to the ending, they showed a pregnant zombie at one point, and I went, oh no, we're not going to do this, are we? And then they left her, and I went, oh good. Oh, nope, they brought her back. And I went,
that's on you, though. Alex Garland, Alex Garland, if anything, in every movie, he's contractually obligated to have to show a birth scene, regardless of if it's coming from men or if it's coming...
rage monster birth scene.
You know, the way they explain it is Ray Fiennes' doctor character says the placenta is magical. And I was like, hey, I'll believe it. I don't have one.
I was actually going, okay, so is this infected? And they answer that question.
But this is the logic
And that's going to be kind of a cool thing moving forward.
Do you think so?
I think so.
I think this is a lot of, it's kind of like The Force Awakens. It's like, hey, this could be great. Here's some potential. But what if it falls apart in the next one?
Well,
The Force Awakens was following a Death Star blueprint and just doing the same thing. This is so different.
It depends on the second one.
Let's give some structure to this. So at the very, very beginning, we have our first opening, like zombies are attacking, and we have a Teletubby screen where all these kids are watching. One of the kids ends up escaping during the madness.
By the way, that scene is brutal, sort of. I went, wow, we're starting with that? Okay.
So obviously this is a flashback to when everything started, and then you see Aaron Taylor Johnson kind of in present day, and you're like, that kid is now Aaron Taylor Johnson.
We're thinking.
Not knowing.
But they never really mention it.
No.
His father's a priest, and he thinks Judgment Day is coming, so he's just like, get out of here, kid, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And we don't see anything from them or know anything until the last minute or two. When the movie, basically you've been drinking orange juice the entire time, and then they immediately give you like a mint, and you're like, what is this? Why would you give me that right now?
Yeah.
Where it takes away from everything to me it built from before, makes it a joke, and also kind of one that I'm interested in still. But I hate it.
You're talking about the end with all the guys doing flips.
It almost made me want to skip it.
I think this is a mix of Guy Ritchie. I think we have a little bit of, right?
It's like The Gentleman.
It is The Gentleman.
It's the tracksuit dudes.
We have
Power Rangers. I think the world that maybe they're making for the next one is the Warriors. I think this is something where they're like, these people on the island are all survivors. These ones have been obsessed with media, and they show media quite a bit in this movie, whether it's medieval movies from the 70s or just kind of some military training videos. They never quite go into. That's why I think this movie kind of misses the boat, literally, because they can't get away.
But here's the thing.
They don't pay off.
The problem with this stuff is this logic of, well, we obviously can't teach medicine. Why? Why can't you teach medicine? Well, we obviously can't have Wi-Fi. Why can't you have Wi-Fi? Like, there's just so many questions as to why they're so isolated when the world seems to have all continued. And that's the part where they've skipped over the sequel, because the sequel tees up that the world got infected. They're running in Paris. They're going all around the world. Forget that. Now it's back to the original, but it doesn't make sense to me. Why don't they have doctors? And why won't they teach kids more than like, well, you do baking and you're a sewer and you're going to be a great mother?
That actually made sense to me. I kind of thought the rest of the world abandoned this part and went on without them and just said, good luck, guys, do what you will. And a lot of the people didn't make it. Maybe some of the doctors didn't make it. I'm assuming they probably got infected before almost anyone. But I almost feel like they went, okay, remember he was small and he was younger and whatever? Okay, you're a smaller guy. We're going to have you bake. Like, we're almost like we're picking your jobs for you.
I know. Who's picking them? Who's that weird council with the old lady that wouldn't open the door even though she saw their eyes?
So what I wanted from this movie, they show like the leaders with masks, and you can tell it's for training, and you're like, show me more of that.
What does that mean?
Is this a corrupt organization here?
They'll have to explain a lot more about that.
I think so too.
But at the end of the day, I don't think it made sense once they revealed that the larger world has moved on. People are dropping helicopter candy on kids like down in South Africa. They can't do anything like that for these people. Everyone just didn't. I don't believe that.
I kind of feel like, they abandoned it. If you remember, what did it have around the whole UK? Something isolation required or terminal isolation or whatever. It was like, too bad.
Essentially, if you touch the land, you can never leave.
Right. Which
boats
they
can
go to
go around it, but that's about it.
Let's talk about the heads being ripped off with the spine included. we've got Mortal Kombat fatalities, brutalities in this case. It's like the guy's signature move next to just kind of being naked and sprinting at you, which another fear that it unlocked in my mind.
So there are a few zombies, and you kind of expect 28 years later that they'd all be emaciated and all that, but
they made that point in the sequel.
They're still feeding, and the rage is giving them super steroids of sorts. And so there are alphas, and there seem to be 2 shown in this movie.
At least, yeah.
Yeah, and they do, their signature move is the Sub-Zero thing.
And then try to get people into Hustles University.
Yeah.
And they try to drop this thing that, the rage is affecting people differently.
Yeah.
Because there were still some really scrawny ones that actually, I was like, is that Cillian Murphy?
Yeah.
Remember that one?
Well, and that's the other thing.
Yeah.
This sequel is already done.
Other ones.
Nia DaCosta's directing, and apparently Cillian Murphy's back. I don't like that either.
He is, and they still need to film the 3rd one. And so I think they're waiting to see if this one is successful and say, what are we going to do here?
I don't think fans are going to react well to this. At least when you build it up with a 96 Rotten Tomato score, which it obviously is at least low 80s, maybe even 70s.
Here's what I love about this, is I thought we were going to see Ray Fiennes' character be evil. But he's not
that's okay
necessarily.
He's silly.
It's a little mixed. I thought we were going to see military factions like you'd see on The Walking Dead be like horrible. This one is like, hey, these blonde guys in the tracksuits are good at kung fu.
Yes,
and you're like,
notice the tracksuits are all Teletubbies colored.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I think is just so silly.
Yeah, but that was his last reference to the real world. And so I think it's delusion and probably vanity that comes in there.
I did also think the part where I guess we're spoiling, where they solved the issue with his mother and cancer was solved really quickly and wrapped up quickly.
By saying we can't solve it?
Well, no,
just
the way that they ended it, I went, well, that was darn quick.
Yeah.
And then they went to this ending, which, if we hadn't dropped the bomb enough already, is almost silly.
It's
and how it's
silly.
done,
especially because Ray Fiennes just gives her the baby.
It's a jarring sort of tone
there's like
compared with the rest.
A beautiful moment and theme of accepting death.
Right.
To let's fight it with nunchucks.
Yeah, and jump all around and all this. Yeah. After pulling guys' heads off with their spinal column, we're doing this, and I went, in the same movie?
Also, I didn't quite believe that Aaron Taylor Johnson wouldn't go find his wife and son.
No. Yeah.
He just kind of waited.
Doesn't
but
make
I know
sense.
it's a film choice, maybe for reasons.
Because they show he takes risks in the beginning.
Except he kind of was moving on, so maybe he wanted his wife gone.
Potentially.
And I was sort of assuming he thought his kid was dead.
Okay.
Because when they got the note and he's alive, he was out of there.
Okay.
And just ran out into the water like, oh, I thought he was dead.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
That was my assumption.
Yeah.
Still.
I love sitting next to you in this movie.
We were both looking at each other
ended, you threw your hands up and you're like, well, what did I just watch?
Just for that ending, it kind of reminded me of the Florida Project, where everything was great until you did that ending.
Yeah.
Then you ruined it, kind of, for me. This movie did that, and just the way they ignored the sequel, like they hated it, kind of like how Rise of Skywalker was like, we hate The Last Jedi.
Yeah,
the whole movie.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of question about, like, so if these things can evolve and they can live off of animals now, what was the whole thing about we just let the group die in the sequel? Because they said we just let them starve themselves. There's so many things now that just don't make sense to what story they made. That's why I'm calling it Kingdom. It's a new thing. They're they're moving on.
I feel like they evolved. I feel like they ate what they had to and that kind of thing. But here's the thing. Again, with the ending, if they had just shown that there was a group who took these guys out and now they're going to teach him how to do it too, fine. But the way they took them out was so silly. I went, really? You're going to Teletubby, Power Ranger?
Are we not excited to see the next one, though, just for curiosity?
I'm interested.
For curiosity.
I'm very
I don't know
curious.
for like excitement. It's more, all right, what was that?
Yeah,
but this could easily be the biggest disappointment of the year for many people.
Yeah, I'm really hopeful that they get to finish this, that it doesn't just fall. Like, they clearly have something that they have in mind, and that alone makes me like, all right, Danny Boyle, let's see what you got.
Yeah, and Nia DaCosta is doing the next one, so we'll see how it goes.
Candyman. It'll be good. Well, that was our quick look at a spoiler review of it, our after-hour show. So thank you guys as always, and we'll see you next Friday talking about F1 trademark.